Hello there everyone, I'm Christina at CSLdesigns and today I'm going to show you how to make this Egyptian style wirework necklace, and this is what it looks like. So what we have is basically a row of wirework with beads here, but we're making this effect around the beads by using a finer wire but multiple lengths, so you can see they kind of wrap around in this style, which gives it a little bit of the Egyptian effect. And then we just add a curve into the piece. I just attach a chain then, so obviously we can wear it around the neck, and then also my clasp. So I've just chosen to use a lot of claw clasp and extender chain. Obviously you can choose whatever you want to. Now this is one piece in my Egyptian style wirework set that I've already done. This is the necklace for it. I've already done a bracelet, and there's tutorials for all these other pieces. So it looks like this. This was my original design that I came up with before all of these other ones. And then I've also done a ring that looks like that there, so you can see same style, and I've just chosen to keep all this in the same materials to make it a matching set. And also some earrings that look like this here. So now you can really make a full set with this Egyptian style jewelry. Now what I'm going to have is, because I've already got these tutorials ready, I'm going to have a playlist linked down in the description box below with all these tutorials in them, so you can feel free to check that out. But for this tutorial here, what we're going to be learning is how to make this necklace. So if you want to learn, then stay tuned. So it's these materials here that we're going to need. Firstly, I have my wire. So I have two different gauges of regular round copper wire. The first one here is a 1mm. This is the base wire, so the strength of the piece. And then here I have a 0.4mm. This is going to be the wire we're going to kind of make the embellishment with. And then to achieve the graduation in the necklace, I've got three different sizes of regular rounds here. So the first ones, the largest ones, are 8mm rounds. And the next ones down, the medium ones here, are 6mm rounds. Then I have the smallest ones, and these are 4mm rounds. And just make sure that the holes in all of them here are large enough to take a length of the 1mm wire through. Now I just chose to keep all my beads the same here to kind of keep it a consistent look. So these are all blue coated hematite gemstone rounds, but of course you can easily change up the colours or the kinds of beads that you use as well. It's completely up to you and the look that you want. And then we also need some chain here, because we're kind of going to be making like a pendant style that we then need to attach to some chain. So I have my copper chain here. You can use whatever kind of chain that you prefer. I'm just using this to match the wire. Then I've got my lost claw clasp and extender chain, and of course also jump rings to put all of it together. Now do check out the description box below the video there, because I'm going to have the whole material list written out, and there's also going to be some links that might be helpful. But let's get all the materials ready and let's get started. So then we need some lengths of our wire. So what I have here first of all is the length of a 1mm of about 25 centimeters, and this is going to be the base wire. And then we're also going to need some lengths of a 0.4mm here of about 60 centimeters each, and these are going to be the wrapping wires. So then to start with, I want to use my base wire here. Now first of all, make sure it's nice and straight so there's no kinks in it. So obviously we can get our beads onto it. But first, I want to make a wrap loop on one end, because it's kind of going to just be the starting point and also be a stopper so the beads won't fall off while we then make the rest of the piece. So I'm going to take my chain nose here, and then just towards one end, it doesn't matter what end. I'm going to first of all put a bend into it. To about 90 degrees like that. Then I like to take my 6-step bell making pliers. Look like this. You cannot use round nose pliers. I just like using this because I know exactly what size loop I'm going to get, and I can make sure I use the same step on both ends. Then place them on the bend, and then take the tail there back around the pliers, swap position, and then bring it around. So basically you get a full circle like that, because then that's the loop where we can attach our chain in once we've done it. Then I take my chain nose again, grab onto the circle there so it keeps its shape, and then I need to wrap the rest of this little tail around the wire below the loop or the circle, and just wrap it a few times. Make sure the wraps there are right below each other, nice and tight to each other. So about 2 to 3 times it's going to be sufficient. So something like that. You can also just push the wraps together there. Now I'll cut off the excess using some flush cutters like that, and then make sure always when you cut up some wire to just press the end down, because if you put your finger over it you can feel it kind of sticking out there. We always don't want that to catch on our skin or clothes or anything, so just make sure to press that in. And now we then have a wrap loop on this end here, and that's going to be our starting point. So then we take all the lengths of the wrapping wire here that we already cut ready, and then make sure the ends are even there, so put them together, because then what I'm going to do is take the other end and bring that up with them. So again, put them all together like that, because then we need to find the middle by them coming down to where we've kind of folded over the wires here, and then I know the midpoint is where my finger is, so I'm just going to keep hold of that just like this here, and we then need to attach this to the base wire that we already got ready with that wrap loop on. So I'm going to place these wrapping wires behind my base wire. You can just go up a little bit so you have a bit more space to work with and something to hold on to, and then just attach them by wrapping them around, keeping the wrapping wires here flat next to each other. So just like this, and then we can just push it down to sit right above that wrap loop. So there we go. And I'll just like to smooth out the wires here. And then we straight away now need to start adding in beads. So you can obviously add your beads however you want to, but I want mine in this graduating pattern. So because of that, I'm going to start with one of my smallest beads. Add that onto the base wire at the open end, let it drop all the way down, and then we need to start making this little Egyptian style pattern, you could call it. So you just want to start with one side of these wrapping wires. It doesn't matter what side you start with, as long as you stay consistent throughout. Now in this case here, I think I'm just going to start with my left side because that's the one that's furthest down. So I'm going to use my fingers here, first of all smooth them out, and use my thumb to kind of press against while bringing them up and over the side of this bead here. And then by smoothing them out like that and pressing against them, I'm also trying to make sure that they lie flat next to each other as I'm bringing them around the side, and then over the top of the base wire to then come out towards the opposite side like this. So you can see it's wrapping from the bottom around the side and then over the top of the bead and the base wire, and then we bring it back underneath the base wire to come back out to the same side where it came from. And the base wire is going to kind of flip around like this, don't worry too much about that. You can always get that in place at the end. Now that's one side, and the other side I'm going to do the same thing. So make sure the wires are lying flat next to each other there, so they wrap around the side of the bead like that. Bring it over the top of the bead and the base wire, and then back out to the same side. So you can see that kind of just frames that bead really nicely in place and gives that kind of almost Egyptian style look to it. And like I said, don't worry about the base wire kind of moving and flip-flopping around. Just going to try and keep it down here towards this end. So obviously we had the rest of the base wire that we need to add more beads to. So I'm going to add my next bead, which is also a smaller one. Let it drop all the way down, and I like to just kind of use the bead as well, the new one I add, and just push it down a little bit on the wires to settle them in place. I keep hold of that bead, make sure it's pushed all the way down so there's not a big space between, and then I start with my left side again, the same side that I started with before, remember that. Bring it around all of the wrapping wires there around the side of the bead and over the top of the wire, to then come back out to the same side again, and the other side, same thing. Push against the wires there so they lie flat next to each other. You can see they're around the side of the bead, over the top of the base wire, and back underneath to come back out to the same side where they came from. And then that's now the second bead wrap, so you get this really nice look. And this is why I said to start with the same side, just to make it nice and consistent throughout. But you just keep going like this until you added in all your beads. Except when we add in the first bead there, because then we also need to finish off these wrapping wires in the process of attaching that last bead. But obviously we want to make it pretty seamless, as seamless as we can. So I want to get my wires ready here. So I'm just going to be smoothing them out, same process, so I can see how they lay flat next to each other there. So I'm going to take the very top one and then just do one at a time now. Bring that over the side and then over the top. So the same movement, but I'm just only using one wire. And then I want to actually wrap it around an extra time, just like that. And then I want to do the same on the other side. So just get the wires in place, and then I take the top one out of the ones there laying flat next to each other on the side of the bead. Then I take that top one and bring it over. Again, the same movement but just with a single wire. And also wrap it around an extra time. Make sure that the wraps here push nice and tight together. So that's one from either side. Then I go back to the first side, so the left side here. Take the very next one down. Make sure it stays underneath the other one on the side of the bead. Then bring that over the top. And back around. And then wrap around an extra time there. Because that extra wrap that we make is basically going to secure the wire so we can cut it off. So we do need to do that extra wrap. Back to the other side. And we just want to keep going like this, alternating from side to side. Take the very next single wire. Wrapping it around the same movement as we've done throughout the piece. But then just give it that extra wrap. Until you used up all of these lengths. So once you've then done all of them here, I'm going to flip it around to the back because that's where all the wires are coming out from. And we now just need to get rid of the excess. So I'm going to take my flush cutters and then just, you can do more or less one at a time. Cut it off towards the back here. And then I take my chain nose, go in and squeeze that end down, otherwise it will just be sticking out slightly. So make sure you put your finger over it, squeeze it down, and if you can't feel it with your finger, it's fine. If you can, just push it down a little bit more. That's the first one. Then I take my next one, cut off the excess, and then also squeeze that down. And like I said, it's because we make that extra wrap every time we bring one down. That's what's going to make sure that these now stay in place. So make sure you can't feel it, and just keep going like this until you've done that with all of them. So then I finished off all the wrapping wires there, and you can see it's slightly different than the rest of the pattern, but it's seamless enough that it kind of just blends in. But also we then finished off the wires nice and securely. And then I just want to go through the beads that I've added in here if you want to do the same graduation as me. I first of all added the 2 4mm rounds, then I added 2 6mm rounds, then I did the 3 8mm rounds in the middle, so the largest ones. Then I go back down to 2 6mm rounds, and then the final 2 again are 2 4mm rounds. So that's how you then achieve this graduation. And then all that's left to do is make another wrap loop with this open end of the base wire, the exact same way as I did in the beginning there. And then once you've done that, we can just shape it and attach whatever findings that we want to. So what I then recommend that you do here, once you've made that wrap loop on the other end as well, is that we add the curve in before we add any chain, because that's really going to help knowing how long we need to make the chain, obviously kind of having it on the neckline. Then all you want to do is go in and put a nice gradual curve in there. Make sure it's nice and even. So just start on one place there, and then go from side to side, gradually adding a curve into it. And it's up to you really how much of a curve you want in this. So if you want it just ever so slightly, and also maybe depending where you want it to hang on your neckline. If you want it quite close to your neck, or if you want it hanging pretty far down, that will also help determine how much of a curve you need to put in. So just add the curve that you want. And then you just got to attach your chain, obviously, whether it's long piece so you can take it over your head, or whether you want to add 2 separate lengths and then have a clasp at the back. So now I've attached my chain here on both ends, and then this is my finished necklace, and it looks like this. And I've also got my clasp, so I've got my lotto claw clasp there and extender chain, so it's completely ready to wear. So this is what my necklace looks like finally. Obviously combining different materials and different colours of materials will give you completely different looks. I just chose to go with this Egyptian style inspired, since I also call my pieces of jewellery that. So this is a necklace version of my Egyptian style jewellery set, and I've already got tutorials for, first of all, the bracelet here. Then I also made a ring to match that looks like this, and then also a pair of earrings. So they're here. So you can see you now have a full complete set, and this is then the necklace version. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Check out my channel for loads of other jewelry making tutorials, different mediums as well. So I really hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.